video. Today we're going to talk about our portions of a whole kit. This kit is very useful for elementary and middle school teachers to familiarize your students and get them more comfortable working with fractions, decimals, and percents. Now the one I have on display here is actually printed at 200% scale. You can see the regular 100% scale one back here on my display case, but I've used this one today just so you can see it at a larger size, just like you might do for a teacher version to have in your classroom. Now you can go in and scale it in our website if you also would like a larger version. So what makes this kit different than other fraction kits you might get? One of the cool things about this is that on each of these little tiles here, you get a percent on the front, the decimal on the side, and the fraction on the bottom, so that students see that it's three ways of describing the same quantity or portion of a whole. So we have 50%, 0.5, and 1/2 on our half piece. Now what you can do is have students simply start recognizing ways to get to 1. For instance, that 3 copies of 1/3 or 3 times 1/3 equals 1. So it fills this container up completely. You can also see that all of these also equal 1 because they all come to the same height. Now when you're printing this off to use in your classroom, you're going to want to make sure you double check each of the prints. Every printer, every spool of filament is a little bit different, so you're going to want to make sure that when you print it, you actually have them all be exactly the same height. This is another reason that it's important to know about the scaling features in our website, because you might have to go in and scale just a percent up or down depending on your particular printer. One of the other cool things you can do with this is to start talking about equivalent fractions. So 2/8 is the same as 1/4, and 4/8 is the same as 2/4 is the same as 1/2. And students can actually come in and see that, yeah, these three are all at the same height. So they can visually understand that, they can stack it in this to get up to 1. They can realize that when you add 2/4 to 1/2, you get a complete whole, or 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 2/8. So it's a lot of good experience for the students to start becoming familiar with the way different fractions, decimals, and percents interact. At a middle school level, it's really useful for helping with those mental math challenges and getting students more comfortable working with these portions of whole numbers. So if they are, for instance, needing to quickly come up with 7/8, they can either go and take 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 7 times, or they can realize that, okay, if each eighth is 0.125, all I need to do to get 7/8 is simply subtract 0.125 from 1 to get 7/8. So 1 minus 0.125 is 0.875. It's a lot faster for students to start working these things out in their head and figuring them out, rather than having to sit there and do it the long way. And it's just a really hands-on visual way for the students to start understanding and grasping these more complex concepts when it comes to fractions, decimals, and percents. And while you're doing any of these interactions, it's once again reinforcing that it's just 3 ways of looking at these same portions of a whole. Can't wait to see all the different ways you're going to use this in your classroom.